Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So we've got the Alesis Sample Pad 4. This is basically a percussion type instrument. It's kind of fun actually. So I'm going to read you the specs off the Long & McQuaid website. I am in Canada, and the price for this is $239 brand new at Long & McQuaid in Canada, of course. And they have over 80 stores, online ordering as well, blah blah blah. Alright, so let's rock this out. You have 4 pads. Allow endless percussive and sampling triggering possibilities. Built-in library of 25 most commonly requested percussion and electronic drum sounds. 10 preset kits. Add any sound or sample or loop to your drum or percussion setup via SD card. It accepts SD and SDHC cards up to a 32 gig card, storing 89 user kits and 512 samples per card. Dynamic blue LED lighting provides clear visibility in any setting. Intuitive navigation lets you browse through your kits with ease. Drag and drop samples via USB on Mac or PC without removing your SD card. You just need a USB cable, which you're going to have to buy because that's not included. USB MIDI output for use with virtual instrument recording software, be it whatever you're going to use. In the box you get the machine, you get a power adapter, user guide, safety, and warning manual. Now the requirements for the computer side: PC, Windows 7 or later, as in newer, Mac OS 10.7 or newer. Available USB port. That's your specs. Now recently I also did a review on the Alesis Compact Kit 4 4-pad portable tabletop drum machine for 100 bucks. Canadian, and that thing's pretty sick and cool too. Not what I want in the end. I'm kind of more apt to go with this. And being that this is also came in as a used unit, or it was rented, I don't know, a number of times, because when they rent units, they lower the price, but also used units, you can get it for a great deal. And I can get this one right now for like 150 bucks, and I'm seriously considering it. It's a nice addition to my gear. And I want to learn drums too, and I like toys and like anybody else, and I want to increase my music stuff, right? Anyways, so kit 1 I've already manipulated. Now, before we get into playing and stuff, I want to talk a little bit about this from what I found out on other YouTubers. A lot of them, majority actually, are complaining of excessive noise that this unit creates. That noise, from what I have been discovering on my own here, is the fact that they're likely not hooking into a proper amplifier. In fact, what they're likely hooking into is nothing more than either a bass amp or a guitar amp, which are not designed for these units. You need an amplifier specifically geared to being used with electronic drums, and this is a form of electronic drums in a sense, okay? And you will get the least amount of noise. You're always going to get a certain amount of noise with this sort of stuff. Anything with cables always creates noise somewhere, okay? However, if you have the funds to buy the proper amp, go for it. If not, do not hook it into a guitar amp, because over time you are going to cook the amp. It's like plugging a bass guitar to a guitar amp. Yes, it can work. The sound quality is not the best, and you will eventually cook that amp. I have personal experience with people who have done that to guitar amps. Because a lot of people have the idea that it's an amplifier, it's an instrument input, I can hook it in. You can do whatever you want. Doesn't mean it's going to be correct to do that. Okay? I'm also going to show you the excessive noise that does come out of a guitar amp with this thing too, and the poor quality sound as well. You can hook this into your home stereo for the least amount of noise, which is not that much. It's actually very little. In fact, it's more like hearing static that you would hear on a cassette tape. You know how cassette tapes always have that little bit of noise in them? That's about the most you're going to really get out of a home stereo. I have not tried this thing in a proper amplifier because I don't have one, but even through the home stereo, your home stereo will handle this unit really well, okay? So I've had no issues, and I'm running a Kenwood AV amp and Paradigm monitor speakers. I've gone to this system setup because it's space saving for me in this room. Also the fact that I needed to do other things and I wanted access to cassettes and CDs in my room to jam along with those type of things for music that I like to listen to. And this seemed to be the ultimate best way to do things. And I still have everything wired in the end going right into my computer for recording, so I can do anything I want. So what I'm doing actually makes more sense to me than just having those monitor speakers that I had, which were powered, which were very nice, very loud, and can give you chest compressions at the right volume level. But needless to say, it was fun. Now I've got even more fun. So let's get on with this. So kit number 1 I've manipulated. Okay, now you can scroll through the kits just hitting the right arrow. They have some really nice presets. Now you gotta wait for it to say processing complete or you're just about to play the same sound again. Okay, number 4, let's wait this time. Process complete. So if you're a percussion player, this is ideal for you. But if you're a drummer that can also handle doing multiple things at the same time, great addition to your kit, electric kit or acoustic kit. You just got to have an amplifier for this. Now that's a good sound for our next little part of the demo. That's kit number 8. Now listen carefully to the sound. Okay, now I am recording this on a camcorder, so it's not like perfect sound, but it's the only way I can get this thing also up and close personal to you guys, and you hear my own room acoustics as well. Okay? Now they're all velocity pads too. Now you do have to hit these pads a little harder than these, which I agree. It's a complaint everybody has, and I think Alesis does need to hopefully do a firmware update to fix that. Okay? Because that is a little annoying that you do have to hit a little harder, but I guess maybe they had a reason for it, but it's a big issue with everybody, including me. So it is part of the star review in the end. So we're going to switch over now to the guitar amp. Can you hear that buzz? That's the same kind of buzz I hear on videos. It's the same kind of buzz everybody crabs about, which is what's telling me that they're going through an improper amp. Okay, so not the right kind of amp. But anyways, let's listen to what it sounds like. So that is a huge amount of background noise that is totally unacceptable. Okay? Now, in any plug-in type instrument, you're always going to get a certain amount of noise, and in a recording, you can get rid of that noise. If you're recording single tracks, it's actually the only way to really eliminate any kind of noise from an instrument. And all instruments do make noise. Okay? It's just, especially electronic stuff, always makes a bit of noise, which you can filter out. I prefer a little hint of that noise, just a little bit, to still be there because it's more natural as part of, you know, the song. Because, you know, if you know about what tape cassettes are, because I know a lot of you newer generation guys are going, what's a tape cassette? But anyways, those of you who do know, you know we always had that bit of a hiss, and you know, we could, you know, switch it, you know, lower and lower, but we could never eliminate it completely. CDs were supposed to eliminate it as well, you know, completely, and they do a great job of that. And of course, now we have MP3 technology. Anyway, so that's what we had for that. So back to the amp, to the stereo, actually. 500 times better quality sound. A home stereo can easily handle this even at high volumes. You will not damage your home stereo equipment with this thing hooked in, unless of course your speakers cannot handle the output of your amplifier, which could be a problem, okay? Or you've put too much excessive bass control on your amp setting and you've overdriven your woofers, in which case that's your bad, okay? But anyways, otherwise, in general, no, you're not going to hurt your home stereo amplifier. You will not hurt your home stereo speakers, okay? And it sounds great, and it saves you a lot of money from buying a proper amplifier. However, that's great for in the house with, but if you're going to be playing gigs, or you're going to play in church, or other types of stuff, then you do have to have the proper amplifier for an electronic drum kit, or in this case, the sampling machine. You do need the proper amplifier. And amplifiers are different prices. You can usually get great deals on used ones, brand new ones, depending on the brand you go with. Anything that's decent though, you're looking at probably a few $100s for a decent, proper amp for electronic drum kits and sampling pads. So that's where you gotta also think about, wait a minute, that noise is going to be far, far less, okay, if I have the proper gear for it. If you don't, noise happens, as you've heard from the trainer amp in the corner. Okay, now this is the trainer amp in the corner that we're dealing with. Alright, and we're going to go back to that for a second, but that's my home stereo. Dial that off. That's a very bad buzz. That's what I hear on videos too. That's unacceptable. I agree, fully agree, that's unacceptable noise. But it's because it's not the right amp for this machine. Okay, and that's a big, huge thing to be concerned with. Alright. So, let's take you through real quick on how to change stuff. So we're on kit number 1, pad 1. Pad 1. Okay, now to change these, use the down arrow. So now we're on sound number 21. Excuse me. Okay, I want claps there. Now, don't change anything. Hit the next pad. Now you're on pad 2. Hit the next pad. Okay, I actually want to keep this one. So, let's check it out, see what we did. You do have to hit these top pads a little bit harder. Okay. Now, if you like that, you want to save it. Press these two buttons together. Save kit. Press the down. Copy kit. But we want to save it, so press the right arrow. Yes. Save success. Down arrow. Exit. A lot of people actually complain about the way the buttons go. They think they should all be left, right, up, and down the way normal things work. It doesn't matter. Honestly, if you can figure it out, it's not a big deal. It's not that hard, okay? I mean, seriously. That is a very minor issue. Hitting this pad, these two pads harder, and they are velocity pads, okay? They should be the same sensitivity as these. Just a natural drop. Okay, Yeah, so, let me think. We need more sensitivity in the top pads. A firmware update could possibly cure that. So hopefully Alesis does something about that, because that would make people so much more happy. Anyways, so your main gain, if you turn it down more, can also clean up a lot of noise too. If you overdrive the gain into a mixing board, if you overdrive the gain into your home stereo, it can also cause a lot of noise. However, into the home stereo, there's a very minimal amount of noise that actually comes through. And I do mean very minimal. Okay, so even with the proper amp, it should be very minimal. But if you do overdrive the main, even into the proper amp, you're going to hear that static in the background. But you are definitely not going to hear this. Like, that's a bad buzzy sound on, on a real bad day. Now, can we clean this up any? Now, keep in mind, this trainer amp is battery powered too. Let me show you what I'm doing so you can see. Okay, so there's my trainer amp. I'm going to switch off the stereo here. Does it make a difference unplugging the power? None. Okay? Because it's not the proper signal source. It's not the proper amplifier for the job. So you're going to get noise. Cables can also cause noise if you have lousy cables. You have to use good quality cables with your stuff, right? Now with my guitars, I'm all completely wireless, and I've got a really good quality wireless system for my guitar. So I get nothing for noise, really. Now when it comes to this sort of thing, you do have to have proper cables too. Even with an electronic drum kit, you need good quality cabling going out to the system. Okay, so your output from your control module to your amp or mixer or whatever has to be good quality cabling to reduce as much noise as possible. Okay, you will never ever eliminate all noise. Okay, but you can definitely take care of a huge amount of it. Anyways, so I think your two choices are this. Go with a proper amplifier if you're going to get into this sort of thing, or even electronic drums, or combining both, or hook into a home stereo. The only problem is with a home stereo, you're not going to be taking that out to gigs, because your home stereo is not going to be loud enough to get out to the audience. Okay, but proper amplifier can definitely do the job, and of course mic it up into the PA or whatever, or go direct to the PA is another option. So I like going direct into the PA. It's just less hassles. But anyways, there are other features and stuff about this thing. I'm not walking you through them because I'm still learning a few things myself yet, and I'm really interested in buying this particular unit because it is very cool and the price is also right. I don't mind the fact that I got to hit this stuff a little bit harder, but I would prefer if I didn't have to. Although I can live with it until they hopefully solve it with just nothing more than firmware update. But if they don't, they don't. It's still going to be handy. And it's not a bad thing either to have something not so sensitive up here, because if you miss with your stick, you don't want to try having two sounds go off at the same time. So there could have been a reason why they actually did not make these hit as easy as these ones here. That could have been part of the thinking behind that. Now, for night shows, whoa, okay, it's cool, right? Alright, it's cool. I like the light up. I love the blue. It's really nice blue. So where are we at with this thing, kiddos? Well, we're at 4 out of 5. It's not perfect, okay? And this can be still a little bit annoying, okay? I am not picking on excessive noise that everybody else picked on, because I suspect that they're whining about it because they're not going through proper equipment. Or if they do have proper equipment, there could be a problem with their equipment. Or cable. Okay, just because you have professional line cables too, like one chap was using, really super quality, doesn't mean there's not a problem somewhere in that cable or connector somewhere. Okay, anything can happen to anything. Okay, nothing's perfect. Okay, but cabling does break down over time, and some cables are more sensitive than others, and even the impedance of the cable and the length of cable can make a difference in how much noise you get or don't get. Okay, signal can get severely degraded after X amount of feet, depending on the instrument we're talking about. Okay, so you know, even for that video that I saw, I don't know, maybe he does have a slight issue with the cable, or maybe the impedance of the cable is too far out of the range of this unit, which could possibly happen. It's hard to say. The cables I'm using are inexpensive. They're pre-molded, so if they break down, I can't fix them, but they do have a lifetime warranty, so Long McQuaid will just give me a new set of cables as a replacement set. I didn't buy these cables for this unit. I bought them for another purpose. And they work really well, so hey, what the heck, and I'm not moving my equipment around, so the wear and tear factor is negligible, okay, other than when I shift stuff around in this room, which I should actually reorganize it again, but anyways, we'll get to it someday. Anyways, is it worth the $239? Yes, okay. You do need to have a proper amplifier or hook it into a home stereo for at-home use only, but if you're gigging, you got to have a proper amp. It's not, and it's not up for discussion on that. And you're always going to get some noise regardless, no matter what you do. You'll always get some noise out of any kind of electronic equipment, especially when you're driving the signals high as well. And that's, you also got to learn the balance of the signal when you're dealing with a unit even like this. It has a control out, okay? And right now I've got it set at half. The channel I'm in my mixer has no gain control, so it's relying just solely on this. Now if I go into a channel that has gain control, it'll also have a cut control as well, so I can also cut the dB level down. But to clean up the signal more, that's between bass, mid, and treble. And the channel I'm in right now only has high and low. It does not have a mid-range control. So I get very, very minimal amount of noise, like very minimal, out of the home stereo, whereas with the guitar amp, as you heard, it's nasty. So there you go. I think it's a great unit. I'd recommend it for sure. Now, I rented the unit, but it doesn't matter if I rent something or if I borrow something or, you know, a sponsor sends me something. I give you guys full, honest reviews. I can't be bought, okay? I give it to you how I see it, how I call it. I have a very knowledgeable base on electronics and equipment. It's just the way I am. I'm kind of a techie geek and electronics geek and all that. And I can see where, you know, things are kind of sitting at, you know. And I don't see any real problems with the unit other than the fact that, yes, these are not sensitive enough, but there could have been a reason for that, okay? Some people don't have the best accuracy when hitting. I know I certainly don't because I'm not a drummer yet, you know, and I don't know how far I'm going to get with drumming in total. But this is a great addition to add in extra percussion stuff into your songs, and you don't have to go out and buy a cowbell, you don't have to buy a tambourine, you don't have to buy whatever else, which could cost you tons of money in the end, where you can have it all electronically right in here, okay? So anyhow, that's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think, but that's where I'm at with it. It is a ruggedly built piece of gear as well, which I like, you know, so it is well built. You know, Alesis is not top of the line, but they do make some really amazing equipment, and they have come a long way over the years. My son's a drummer. He bought his first Alesis kit I think it was almost 10 years ago. Anyways, really nice kit at the time. I mean, today's Alesis kits in the same category are far superior, obviously. But, you know, they have come a long way. They're continuing to progress in the industry, and that's good. It's what we want. You know, we want the progressiveness. We want them to keep going forward and making better and better stuff. You know, and still keeping affordable too. And I think $239 new is very affordable for this, especially for what you're getting. It is quite the amazing little toy, and we've barely even touched on it. I mean, you can change the tuning of each one of these things as well. So if you want to tune up or tune down, you can do that too. Or you can tune it up. So, you know, that sort of thing. You got a lot of different things you can do. You can pan it. Just there's center, you know, if you want to center everything. But anyways, so that's it. That's all. Let me know what you think. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Smash that bell for notifications, because I definitely have a lot more gear stuff coming up in the next while. Next year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, of course. And of course, everything else I do on my channel too, RC and otherwise. Catch ya.